Beloved community, it is my absolute delight today to introduce you to Reverend Kathy Cramer, who is an old friend and a colleague. Kathy and I went to seminary together, and we're actually in a class in field education together, and we got to know each other there. And uh, Kathy is also good friends with Christy and involved with some things with her. So it is my delight to introduce you to Reverend Kathy Kramer, who is going to serve as our sabbatical minister while I'm away on renewal leave here at United Church of Hayward. So, Kathy, welcome to the conversation and to the community. And I want to just start by asking you, what is it you'd like for the folks at UCH and in our larger community to know about you?
Well, it's great to be here and I'm excited. That's the first thing I guess I want to say is I'm excited to be doing this and to getting to know the community better and to also doing some things that can kind of stretch me as well in ministry. Ministry is my second career. I was a social worker for many years, but I grew up in the church and the church has always been really important to me.
Mm,
I was especially active, but I'm a lifelong disciple. My parents met in a disciples church. They started a disciples congregation in the Midwest, and then we moved to California. And I was very active in my church youth group, which is where I really got my education about social justice issues. I kind of grew up in a more of a white suburban environment, and it was the church and the experiences through church of going into the inner city in Los Angeles and then also going down to Mexico during Easter break, where I really got to experience some of the rest of the world and come face to face. I sort of had naively thought that, oh yeah, we have civil rights, we're good there. But no, that was not the case. And of course, it still isn't the case. And that was fundamental to me in my decision about a career. It was very important to me to do something where I felt like I was helping people. And I did start out to think about ministry, but eventually moved in to social work and worked with folks that have developmental disabilities. I've worked with kids and adults and offenders. I've done a number of things. So that's one thing that I hope you know. I think that I have good skills in management. I was a manager and actually director of a mental health system for a number of years. So I think that that's one of my strengths. I find myself in leadership positions, and also I'm very collaborative in my leadership model. I feel like I have an ability, I'm a good listener. I have an ability to listen to people. I'm interested in problem solving and, coming to decisions. And so I think that that's really important. And then another thing that I think is important to know about me is I am a crier. I can cry at the drop of a hat. I've been known to cry during a commercial. But whenever something hits me, when something strikes me, touches me deeply, I'm likely to cry. So
mm,
that's just part of who I am and how I'm made. And so I think that's good for the moment.
mm. That's terrific. I think that the community will be used to that because they're used to my emotional authenticity, if you will. And I cry and I get angry and I lay it all out on the table, and it sounds like you're like that too. And that's beautiful to hear. And in keeping with the theme of our sabbatical, which, we got this grant from the Lilly Foundation, which we're delighted about. And the theme for the renewal leave is what makes your heart sing. And so I want to ask you, uh, maybe to share a little bit with the folks about what it is that makes your heart sing.
When I first heard that question, the first thing that came to me was the ocean. And I've recently just got back from being out at the ocean with my family, which I think just speaks to my connection to nature. I love the ocean. I love the lessons of it, the ebbs and flows and the crashing waves. The redwood trees, another place of nature. And the first time that I took a trip to Sedona in Arizona, I was awestruck. I was like, wow, it was great. But of course, it doesn't have to be these dramatic things. I lead a Tai Chi class in a local park here, and just noticing and paying attention to the trees and the squirrels and the different dogs that are coming through, the birds, all of that definitely makes my heart sing.
Mm,
Thinking about being in that park brings up another thing, which is Tai Chi.
mm,
I love doing Tai Chi. It's something I came to later after I retired from my social work career. And I've never been very athletic, but I wanted some movement. And so I took this Tai Chi class. And what I love about it is it helps me to calm down and to connect with the energy in the universe, which I call God, they call Chi, and also to connect with the world around us and within us. And so that's another thing that makes my heart sing, which leads me to silence.
mm,
I our world is always so busy. My mind goes a million miles an hour. And so silence is something that I crave, and especially silence in community. So during a church service, when there's time to just be silent, there's something really powerful in that.
mm,
On the trip I was on recently, we spent some time. Our daughter lives in the desert, and the desert is definitely a place where I connect with silence.
mm,
On the other side of that coin, this whole theme of what makes my heart sing, I love to sing. I am not in any way a gifted singer. I'm not musically talented, but when I'm driving, I'm singing along to songs in my car. I love singing the hymns in church. At Christmas time, I love to do the carols. I just, singing is sort of just gets my energy out into the world. Um,
mm,
One of the things that I think these things have in common is this theme of connection. And I think you'll hear me talk about that a lot today. So connecting with the Holy Spirit, mystery, God, whatever we want to call it. Also connecting with friends and family. I'm pretty much an introvert. I'm not a super
mm.
social person. But I have a few friends, and that ability to sit down and have a chat or a cup of coffee, sit around a table. I was recently connecting with my brother and sister down in Southern California, and especially to gather around table and share a meal together. When we were growing up as kids, we didn't do a lot of camping. We weren't doing the fishing and skiing and a lot of those outdoor things. When we came together, it was going to be around food. It was going to be around a barbecue or sitting around the family table. And uh,
Right.
so that's really something that makes my heart sing.
Mm,
And then one other thing I'll just say, we recently got adopted by a cat. It's our second cat. We didn't want a second cat, but we have a second cat. And this cat likes me and likes to come up and sit on my lap, and I love it. So,
we have a lot of cat lovers in our congregation. So I hope your kitties will make an appearance during worship if they feel so inclined. I understand that cats do their own thing, but And it strikes me as you talk about the things that make your heart sing, they really fit in. We did a survey in preparation for this experience and writing the proposal that had areas that made people's hearts sings in the congregation. And you're touching on several of those in what you're talking about. And I think that's really beautiful. They discovered that a lot of what I wanted to do on my renewal leave also resonated in those ways, and I think that's really cool. And those are synchronicities to notice um, in our lives, especially
Yeah.
when it comes to our spirituality. So you danced around this, but you started into it, but I want to hear more about what it is you think makes God's heart sing.
Well, the first thing is, I would say, new life in all of its forms. So, of course, newborn babies and puppies and kittens and animals, flowers blooming, our own new beginnings and new starts in our lives. So when we resolve a conflict, when we find a new direction, when we mend fences with one another, when we find our way through a difficult situation, all of that new life, new energy,
Mm,
makes God's heart sing. Um, and I think mainly when we live out of our true nature, when we share our gifts with one another, our gifts of creativity, in all of the arts and poems and music, but are also our gifts of connecting, of building community, of being good parents, of
mhm,
helping to bring people together, of speaking up. I think that's critically important. And actually, I wanted to share this really short poem that Steve
mm,
Garnis Holmes wrote. He is a retired pastor and musician, very creative person, and he wrote this poem called Beauty. And it's very simple. It says, "Beauty is God's bait. She sets it out and waits for you to notice. You pause and gaze, and God hopes linger a bit, rapt, while she stares at you because she loves seeing your face like that." There's the tears. I
mhm,
just love that idea of, being kind of captured by beauty, captured by God. And that's the interaction, I think, when we share our gifts. And because God, I believe, always, always wants to be in connection with us. And then the third thing is when we love our neighbor.
mhm,
It's so important, I think, especially in these times, to show kindness, to be compassionate towards others, to not get into the hate and the discounting of folks, and to speak up for justice, which is a critical part of loving our neighbor, is especially to speak for those who do not have a voice. Um, and God's heart sings when we're able to do that. It's ultimately, to me, all of these things speak about connection.
mm,
So God's heart sings when we connect with God, when we connect with others, when we connect to justice and to how God created the world to be. Caring for the creation makes God's heart sing in
mm.
all of its ways. So.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Kathy, I'm so glad that we've had this time for the congregation to get to know you a little bit, and they're going to be getting to know you a lot better this summer. And I'm just delighted that you've made the commitment and covenant to be with us and to accompany the congregation through these I like to say precedentedly unprecedented times because there are a lot of precedents for what's going on in our history. It's just all crawled out from under rocks and is making itself really obvious. And it makes my heart sing that you're going to be with the congregation and able to accompany them during these challenging times so I can get some rest and spend some time with my family because I'm desperately in need of that. And I'm grateful for you and just want to thank you for uh, making this video with me and getting to know, letting the congregation get to know you this morning.
Well, thank you. It's really been a privilege, and I'm looking forward to getting to know them better as well.
Yeah.